There's another related thing to that I don't think I'm going to bring up because
Okay.
I'd pretty much just be getting on a soapbox.
I like it when you get on a soapbox, to be honest.
I could, but
You did that
It's
one time and
pretty
it was pretty
political.
awesome.
do you want me to talk about the thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me copy the link to the website. Or to the study, I should say. I have a study.
Wait,
Okay.
is this your own personal study?
No,
My friend is so smart. He has his own personal study.
I really don't.
He
Okay.
actually does. It's a secret, and I'm learning his secret.
So he said that the group is the historical structure that humanity has erected between the individual and the terrible unknown. So he's just talking about like over time these ideas have been tested by societies, and that's why they're in place now is because these are the ones that worked.
Yeah.
And then so when you destroy those en masse, that is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so-
Secular culture, cough, cough. I'm
Well,
still
so here's
sick.
here's what I said. It's the Carl Truman idea. This is why the new modern self is so detrimental.
Yeah.
Society is expected to conform to the desires of every individual, which means that it's not acting as a barrier, but as an encouraging entity in the face of the unknown. I think this can help to explain why we see transgender people are more likely to be depressed or commit suicide after their transition, because it is not good for them, but they don't have a society which will tell them that because individual expression is more important.
You know,
And that's my soapbox, but I know that people might get mad at that, so I looked up a study to prove that those rates are higher post-transition.
I've seen so many studies.
Right, but I don't know if everyone has. But
No, go ahead.
okay, so the study is called Long-Term Follow-Up of Transsexual Persons Undergoing Sex Reassignment Surgery Cohort Study in Sweden. It's by some people that I don't know the names of, but you could look up the name of it and find it. The conclusion that they came to was that persons with transsexualism after sex reassignment have considerably higher risks for mortality, sexual behavior, and psychiatric morbidity than the general population.
Yeah.
It says that our findings suggest that sex reassignment, although alleviating gender dysphoria, may not suffice as a treatment for transsexualism.
Well, okay. So here's the problem: is they're treating gender dysphoria by confirming it, and that's like backwards as all get out.
Yeah, and
Like if you have a misconception about something, your community's job isn't to confirm your misconception. If you're like, every night aliens come to my bedroom and they beam the answer to when the world will end into my brain, you need to help them.
right.
You need to have, I mean, I don't think you should just shout at people and tell them you're wrong and dumb. I think you need to understand where they're coming from and try to understand, and then just be honest with them and express why.
But like, I think the point is, well, first for people that might say that that's just like a one-time article. The reason I chose this one was because they talk about a lot of the prior studies and the issues with a lot of those, that they could have been very biased because there are people that are self-reporting, and the people that were more likely to self-report are the people that were happy with the transition
Right.
than people who were suicidal, especially if they did commit suicide, because you obviously can't report that.
Right.
You can't self-report that. But I think that whether or not you agree with us about this, the point is we see this as a dangerous thing that's happening, and like that's why we are invested. That's like why we're doing this.
Oh yeah, very much so. I like the reality of the situation. Is this an okay time for me to do my truth tangent?
Sure.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you had something better or something, but
There was a quote that reminded me of it, so I'll look for it.
so I had this really interesting realization, and maybe some of you listening are like, well, yeah, that makes sense. Duh, that's obvious. And some of you may be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm sorry for all of you. But I had this really interesting realization over the weekend. And it was that we are all like individuals who have individual experiences. So at our cores, like we all have our own understood and perceptive truths. So somebody who runs for like their entire life, they've run for 20 years, they might have done it wrong, because there is a wrong way to run. They might have done it wrong for 20 years, but that's all they've done their entire life. Now, somebody else might come along with only 5 years of running experience, but has studied the idea of running and how to be a good runner and proper form and stuff. And they might come up to that person and be like, yo, you're running wrong. And they can say it as nice as they want or as rude as they want. It's irrelevant, because the person who's been running wrong for 20 years has an experienced truth that they've done it for so long and they've never had a problem with it. So it works. It's true to them. And the other person might have empirical data and studies and all this stuff, but how could you deny that person's experience? And I think this all ties back to like the transgender issue and gender dysphoria and stuff, because somebody has an experienced truth. And does that make them right or wrong? No. But the problem is when we confirm what we do know is wrong. If somebody's running so poorly that they're going to injure themselves, should you just let them keep doing it? I would say no. I think there's only so much you can do, but you definitely shouldn't just be like, no, you're right. Yeah, no. I mean, like, I know you're probably going to snap your ankles, but like, yeah, no. Keep doing that. No. I mean, you can only do so much. But to confirm it is the wrong thing. That's the last thing you should do. To express concern, to demonstrate what you've learned and understand, to, demonstrate and give support and caring and stuff. These are all great things. Even giving those things and then saying, I can't do anything about this situation. And I mean, if you're Christian, praying for them. If you're not Christian, maybe getting another friend or talking to somebody else about the thing. But the idea of confirming something that could be so detrimental to somebody's life and health is so backwards. And that's all we see nowadays. And it goes beyond the transgender thing. It goes into like ideologies and like believing like critical race theory that us as white people, we are awful, horrible sinners of blah, 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 blah. And like we owe an apology and we're in a huge debt to like everybody who's a minority is just such a backwards idea. Like how does Jimmy, who's 5 and white, how are they in debt because of something their ancestors did? Wake up call. Everybody's ancestors did everything or something horrible. Mm-hmm. Everybody. The first slaves were white people. White people owned white people. Like that's history, and it's tragic and it's awful. And neither one of us support that idea. But the reality is everybody's ancestors has done something awful, because we all came from a very, I guess, savage idea. For
the sake of being historically accurate, the first slaves were not white people, because slaves have been a thing pretty much since the beginning of humans.
Yeah,
which would have been like when everyone was in like Fertile Crescent, in Africa and stuff, so they would have darker skin.
Okay. Well, I know,
but that's mostly semantics.
That is semantics.
The point is that white people are not unique in owning slaves.
Yeah. Well, I guess my point was like the same group of people owned each other.
Yeah. Like
there wasn't even a difference. Like it was somebody from the same town. They owned each other. I mean, like, it doesn't make it right, but it doesn't mean that you have to magically pay for this debt that carries through your like family lineage or something. Like that doesn't track. That doesn't make sense. And to confirm that ideology is just so backwards. And that our society has gone so far to confirm all these ideologies that are so destructive is just so confusing to me.
Hey, I got another quote for you. Listener likes, comments, and subscribes down below. And if you understood any of my word salad, go ahead and click the link below for a full video and a 5-course meal. Thanks for watching.